we move on to our next speaker, we have a very senior scholar who has joined us this morning, Dr. Muthulakshmi Ramchandran. Namaste, ma.
Namaste.
Dr. Muthulakshmi ji is the Honorary Research Associate at KSRI, that is Kuppuswamy Shastri Research Institute in Chennai, one of the finest institutions which is engaged in the work of manuscript studies, publication, research into yoga. We'll be learning more about this institution shortly. She holds a doctorate from the Kuppuswamy Shastri Research Institute, Chennai. She has presented many papers related to yoga in many international and national conferences. At present, she's involved in doing a critical edition of Hatha Yoga text called Hatha Sanketa Chandrika. Hatha Sanketa Chandrika is a very voluminous text and one of the important texts of the Hatha Yoga tradition. So she is currently working on that project. And today she will be speaking on a text called Yoga Sangraha with the focus on some of the salient features that are present in that particular text. Over to you, Dr. Muthulakshmi ji.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, madam.
Okay. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to talk in this platform. I am very thankful to KSRI, all my directors, Dr. V. Kameshwari, Dr. K.S. Balasubramaniam, Dr. T.V. Vasudeva, and I am very thankful to this Indica Yoga people. I am very glad to present this paper in this platform. Now I start. Anyana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Kurave Namaha. Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmad Acharya Paryantam Vande Guru Parampara. Actually, humans always urge to get away from the perennial sufferings. Ancient rishis visualize substratum, underlying principle, which is free from conditioning. Vedas reveal to great rishis the clear view of ultimate principle. Upanishads, the end part of Vedas, stressed the ultimate goal of human as liberation. Many systems of philosophy emerged to analyze the means for liberation. Of them, 6 systems are very important: Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Purva Mimamsa, and Uttara Mimamsa. Sankhya and Yoga are most ancient schools.
Excuse me, ma'am, your PPT is not shared. Please share your screen, ma'am.
Is it shared now?
Yes, ma'am, but make it full screen, ma'am. Go to view and make it full screen, ma'am.
I can't wait. I can't.
Okay, ma'am, just proceed, ma'am.
Okay. Because full screen, I'm not able to go there. Anyway. Yoga is considered to be the practical aspects of Sankhya system. The founder of classical yoga is Patanjali. Yoga Sutra of Patanjali is the foundation for later yoga texts. Many texts on Hatha Yoga and Raja Yoga, namely Yoga Yajnavalkya, Goraksha Samhita, Shiva Samhita are very popular. But this text, Yoga Sangraha of unknown author, has been critically edited by Dr. Balasubramanian, Dr. T.V. Vasudeva, and myself. And we are shortly going to publish this critical edition. We have been collating 3 manuscripts. And this text discusses known concepts and practices. It contains 185 verses. It introduces unique concepts and practices also. This paper discusses some salient features in this text. Yoga Sangraha says, Sushumna, the best nadi, is fixed in the center of the body. Having hollow inside, it raises up like a bamboo stalk. The mouth of it is fixed well in the moola, having the appearance of a slit bamboo. This description is not found in the popular text of yoga. There are 7 nadis. They emerge from the center of the body around the Manipura chakra, and this is a very unique description. Actually, Pingala, Sushumna, Usha, Alangusha, Astijikva, Gandhari, and Ida are those 7 nadis. Bali, Raka, and Sankusini. This particular text is discussing these 3 nadis. And these 3 nadis move downwards from the Kanda, situated near intestines. That is Pakvashya. Bali, which is responsible for the discharge of excretion, is situated behind them. The nadi Raka, staying in front, as mentioned above, is responsible for the release of urine. Another nadi, Sankusini, appears in its front. She gives the essence of food in the form of Shukla, semen, at the nadi Raka. And this is a unique concept. Samana, along with fire, takes the other part of the essence upwards and distributes it suitable among all the parts of the body. Usually, Samana is said to reside in the navel region and help in the digestion of food. The idea given in this text is unique. Now, Hamsa Mantra. By the joining of prana and apana, breathing takes place in living beings. The syllable ha with the dot is produced from the prana at the throat. Because of the pull of apana, the sound sa is produced there. Thus, the jiva always mutters hamsa, hamsa during breathing. And this concept is not found in popular texts on Hatha Yoga. There are 5 more vayus like Naga, Kurma, etc. pervading the whole body, performing menial functions in the dhatus, essential ingredients of the body. This is not found in any other popular text on yoga. Dhananjaya, it is one of the 10 vayus. Dhananjaya causes swelling in the body and it does not leave the body even after death. Yoga Yajnavalkya opines that Dhananjaya causes swelling in the body, while most of the other texts say that Dhananjaya does not leave the body even after one's death. But Yoga Sangraha is the only text which attributes both the functions to Dhananjaya. Now, this text gives a definition for Manaha, Manas, Bodha, Buddhi and Chitta. In the desire to know, this is or this is not. The twofold state of jiva towards it is manas, mind. The knowledge that this is known as bodha, knowledge. When the knower is certain about this, that state of knowledge is known as buddhi, which is intellect. The complete faith in this ascertainment is as chitta, mind. This is a new concept. Now, this text deals with swapna. I mean, it talks about 4 avasthas in very peculiar manner. When the jiva leaves the gross body, organs, and heart, enters the Manipura chakra slowly, then that state is called a dream. Jiva, after leaving the heart lotus, and when the Manipura is not yet far, by the delusion of external objects or due to the impressions formed in the waking state, or by the thread of confluence of multitude of actions in the future, or due to the delusion of internal organs, the vision in the dream is like the vision of universe in waking state. When the jiva travels downwards from Manipura, abandoning all the impressions, and reaches Swadhisthana and rests there happily, then this state is said to be Sushupti, deep sleep state, by knowledge of truth. In the 4th state, that is Turiya Avastha, the jiva settles in Kundalini at the Mooladhara. In the deep sleep state and in the 4th state, the prana and apana are together. Thus, this particular text gives a description of all the 4 avasthas in a peculiar manner. Now, Shama and Dhamma are the first 2 limbs of that Ashtanga Yoga according to this author. And Shama means refraining from prohibited actions by external organs. Dhamma is refraining from prohibited actions by internal organs. And you know, Shama and Dhamma are parts of Shat Sampati and Sadhana Chatushtaya. Smearing holy ash all over the body, one should practice Nadi Shuddhi, contemplating on the mystic syllable of fire, Ram, in the Mooladhara, contracting the anus, performing Kumbhaka at Manipura chakra, and meditating upon the 2 gods, fire and air, along with the respective syllables Ram and Yam. One should rotate the air in the navel region in clockwise direction. Then one should also do the same in the opposite direction. All the impurities are cleansed by the performance of this rotation as ordained according to Yoga Sangraha. Kechari Bandha. One should smear the tongue with oil, stretch it and bring it out by both hands. One should cut the root of the tongue a little by little using Vrihi Patra. By this, the tongue will get stretched. Usage of Vrihi Patra is a unique concept. After Dharana, yogi should keep the other 8 vayus in prana and apana, enliven them slowly and gradually, place prana in apana and bring it to the center of the body. From there, along with the fire there, lead to the chakra above Mooladhara, namely Swadhisthana. Along with the fire existing there, lead to Manipura. Along with the fire in that region, that is all the 3 fires with the air, draw it slowly up to the heart. Contemplate on the fire region, the deity Rudra as ordained, that it has the limbs expanding like that of one's own body. One should imagine that the expansion of fire image emerge out of these fires and pervade everywhere the whole body. Meditate upon the effulgent fire surrounding the whole body. Through this, all defects of the body are burnt by the fire immediately. Now, Yoga Sangraha, when giving the definition of Samadhi, it is something different. See, the state of immersion in the bliss of the oneness of Jivatma and Paramatma of the one who is verily in Brahman is called Samadhi according to this text. They speak about the oneness of Jivatma and Paramatma in other texts, but the state of immersion in the bliss, that part is not found anywhere, according to my knowledge. Raja Yoga. Now, according to Yoga Sangraha, there are only 3 limbs in Raja Yoga. They are Shama, Dhamma, and Samadhi. Shama, Dhamma, Samadhi, I've discussed earlier, and this is a new concept that is not found in other texts. Yoga Sangraha says one should see Brahman in everything, whether sleeping or residing in a place, standing or roaming or remaining in water or space, propelled by one's own self or by others, in whatever is known through mind or sense organs, whether of the past or present, treating censure and praise equally. Raja Yoga is suitable for all varnas, ashramas, heenas, patitas, mixtures, and women. This Raja Yoga is the purifier and giver of various siddhis. This Yoga Sangraha actually ends the text with how a yogi approaching death should be. The yogi approaching death should remain in the state of samadhi. He will not astray from the path of yoga by not engaging himself in any external activities. By remaining in samadhi, he merges with the Supreme Brahman in a short time. Thus, the text ends. Now, I conclude that this text will be very useful for the persons who are practicing Hatha Yoga. And I am very thankful to the Indica Yoga for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Muthulakshmi ji, for giving us this overview of this text, which has many important points, and especially it connects very well with some of the discussions brought in by Professor Madhusudan Penna ji yesterday, especially how Hatha and Vedanta systems, there is a fine synthesis that emerged over a period of time. And I think this is one such text which manifests this aspect in a beautiful manner. Paturi ji, can I request you for your comments and questions, if any? Sir, your voice is muted.
Okay. Amma, your presentation was very well done, excellently done. Actually, I want to learn how you bring those pictures and how you create those visualizations so well at this age. Actually, people think that at this age, people are not so savvy with all these things, but that was wonderfully done. And it was the youngsters also have to learn how to be brief about only the salient features, the unique points of the text, and really many unique points that you brought out from this text are probably from the experience of the author himself. Because you mentioned that it is an anonymous author, we are not able to know the author. We are when we have such a problem with the text, dating chronology of the text also lands into a problem. So we may not be able to exactly pinpointedly mention, bring out the date of the book, but the way the text refers to earlier concepts, we can only say a mention about the sequence of the text, from after which text probably this text has come into existence. This appears to be some around 17th century text, because it is mentioning many concepts that are found in the 15th and 16th century texts also. So but definitely this is a unique contribution by the author. That is also an example of how even Hatha Yoga tradition, the authors were not just repeating or compiling ideas. Every new author was bringing out some or the other new idea, some or the other unique ways of approaching yoga practice. And it was such a variegated tradition that there is no hard and fast rule that it has to be only this way. There are basic principles are the same, the common principles, but the details of practice are so variegated. So that was wonderful, Amma. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Muthulakshmi ji.